Have you ever been absolutely certain you saw something, only to realize it wasn't there? Or swore you heard your name called, but no one was around? Our brains generate about 20 watts of power, enough to light a dim bulb, but they also constantly create illusions. Your brain isn't trying to trick you maliciously. It's just trying to make sense of a chaotic world, sometimes taking mental shortcuts that lead to fascinating errors. So, if your brain is the most powerful computer on Earth, why does it constantly trick you into seeing things that aren't there and believing things that aren't true? Everything is a system. Understanding how your brain processes information and why it sometimes lies to you requires a systems approach. In this grade 12 lesson, we'll explore the interconnected components that influence your perception and decision-making. Our brains are constantly making predictions and filling in gaps based on past experiences, a process Dr. Anya Sharma, a lead neuroscientist at the Brain and Mind Institute, explains is crucial for survival. She notes that our brains use mental shortcuts, called heuristics, to process information quickly, especially when faced with complex or ambiguous situations. While often efficient, these shortcuts can lead to systematic errors in judgment and perception, known as cognitive biases. These biases aren't flaws, they're an adaptive feature, helping us respond rapidly, even if it means sometimes sacrificing objective accuracy. To understand how these biases work, we need to look at 5 key components in our system. We start with sensory input, the raw external data from our senses, and prior experience, our accumulated memories and learned patterns, both acting as inputs to the system. Inside the brain, cognitive load, the mental processing required, and bias strength, how much a bias influences us, are internal outputs. Finally, decision accuracy, how well our perception matches reality, is another crucial internal output. Let's trace these connections. There's a negative relationship between sensory input and bias strength. When your senses provide clear information, your brain has less need for shortcuts, reducing bias. However, a positive relationship exists between prior experience and bias strength. What you already believe strongly influences how you interpret new data. Similarly, cognitive load has a positive relationship with bias strength. When your brain is overloaded, it relies more on quick, biased judgments. Ultimately, there's a negative relationship between bias strength and decision accuracy. The stronger your biases, the further your perception deviates from objective reality, impacting everything from eyewitness testimony to investment choices. Build your cognitive bias model and explore these fascinating dynamics. What if we increase the ambiguity of sensory input? How does that affect bias strength? Or, what happens to decision accuracy when cognitive load is extremely high? You can even simulate how strong prior experiences might lead to confirmation bias, even with clear new evidence. Understanding cognitive biases opens doors to diverse and impactful careers. Cognitive scientists and behavioral researchers study how the brain processes information, earning between $65,000 and $130,000 per year. Their insights are vital in fields like healthcare and government policy. You could also become a UX researcher, applying cognitive science to design user-friendly products and experiences, with salaries ranging from $80,000 to $150,000 annually. Everything is a system. Model it, build it, simulate it, understand it. Visit modelitk12.com.